Welcome to the Wheeze.
Welcome to
Welcome
the
to the
Wheeze.
Wheeze.
We're doing Sam Little, America's most prolific serial killer.
Amen. Just kidding. We're gonna do Samuel Little, the choke and stroke killer.
Who's not so little. Okay.
I mean,
Let's just start it off by saying that's not who I expected. Like when I googled Samuel
Me
Little.
either. When I saw
everybody expected some white dude, and that's what's crazy because
right.
so like he literally is America's most prolific serial killer. He beat out Gowie, the Green River Killer. He has 60 confirmed.
Gowie.
Yeah, Gowie.
I like that.
Gary Ridgway was a man who stupided his way into being the most prolific. At one point, was the most prolific serial killer. He stupided his way into it because he's not a smart man. So he's Gowie.
Same.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, anyways,
I'm back to the point. Samuel Little. Also known as McDowell. Why does it say McDowell
because
there?
so his
I don't know.
he was born Samuel McDowell, but he changed his name to Little. I'm not sure why. I'm sure it'll tell us. I just know that he's a monster. He is known as the choke and stroke killer, but he is also has another nickname, which is the Barbarian, because apparently when he did his murders, it wasn't violent as in like Jeffrey Dahmer mutilating people violent, but it was violent as in like he choked the shit out of them and beat them to death with his bare fists. So, yeah.
What? That's hot.
And that was the podcast, guys.
Podcast.
Come back
Podcast
next
over.
Wednesday.
5-minute podcast. Let's go, baby.
Amen. Okay. He was born June 7th, 1940. And he died in 2020. Did he get COVID?
I'm not sure why. I'm not sure how he died. I think he had like cancer or something. I'm not 100% sure because
Oh.
like they would have never caught this guy, which we'll go into it because it'll explain. Never mind. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna stop getting ahead of myself. Y'all know how I get whenever it's like, cause like as soon as, cause like he was caught fairly recently.
Yeah.
And so like as soon as he was caught, like I started doing research on him, and then it came out that he's America's most prolific. So like I've done a lot of research on him. You know what I'm saying?
It wants to be just
No,
like
I don't want to be just like him. I don't want to strangle them and beat them to death. That's not me. No, it's
I
just
thought
like
about it.
because like I'm fairly certain he was caught like maybe 2016. You know,
Guess what?
you know what I'm saying?
We're about to find out.
Like it was, or no, 2012 is what it said. They apprehended. So like it was September 5th, 2012, which is really, I mean, to be apprehended in 2012 and never have been caught for serial killing before is really rare. Do you know what I'm saying? And so like I did a lot of research on the dude just because like he was like it was fairly recent. So anyways, you yeah.
Noted.
So he died December 20th or December 30th, 2020. Continue, Libs.
He was an American serial killer. What part of America?
Everywhere. He was a transient.
Okay.
Like
South America?
no, like I'm in the United States. He was a transient. So like he had some in Texas. Like he had some all over. Like I'm sure it'll get into it down here. But he has victims like I think, and I don't even know how many states. I want to say like maybe close to all of them except for like Hawaii and Alaska and shit. Like yeah, because they suspect him of 93 murders, but
Yeah.
he's been convicted or he's been confirmed of 60 for sure. So like that's a lot of
Well,
that's a
for
lot
him.
of fucking people. You know what I mean?
In the big scale of things. Is it?
I mean, he's been confirmed murdered 60 women.
Don't get him
No, I'm
started.
kidding. He's been confirmed to have murdered 60 women, and they think it's 93. Like, they're pretty sure.
Right, but like out of all the people in the world, is 93 really a big number?
I mean, for one singular person to kill 93 people individually, kind of a big number. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't do a mass murder like Jim Jones. Jim Jones took the easy way out and was like, I'm going to cause y'all all to commit suicide at the same time. He meticulously
Same.
went and murdered 93 different people by himself. You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of people for one person to do.
I mean,
It's just a pastime for him. Let him be.
I mean, he's no Ted Bundy, because Ted Bundy, what they think he's possible like 130.
Ugh, I feel 130.
same.
I mean, I'm starting to feel better because the workouts have been going pretty good. So yeah,
That's great. I
Anyways,
need to work out, but here we are. Anyways, he was convicted of 8 murders, which only 8 murders,
yeah. Well,
and confessed to committing 93
yeah.
murders between 1970 and 2005. Oh, so he got caught in 2005 then.
No, he stopped murdering in 2005. He got apprehended in
Mm.
2012.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation's Violent Criminal Apprehension Program has confirmed his involvement in at least 60 murders, the largest number of confirmed victims for any serial killer in American
Yep.
history. Little provided sketches for 26 of his victims, although not have been linked to known murders. Have y'all looked at the sketches?
They're not great.
yes.
I mean, some of them are okay, but they're not like great.
Yeah. Anywho, so that was that part. You can read his early life, Clint.
I don't want to. But anyway, early life. Little was born Samuel McDowell on June 7th, 1940, in Reynolds, Georgia. His mother, Bessie May
Ooh.
Little, was a teenage prostitute who had abandoned him. Authorities believe that she might have given birth to him while she was in jail. The census from the year Little was born said Bessie May worked as a maid and that his father was 19-year-old Paul McDowell. Soon after his birth, Little's family moved to Lorain, Ohio, where he was brought up mainly by his grandmother. He attended Hawthorne Junior High School. By his own account, he began having sexual fantasies about.
Thorn Heights?
Yeah. I mean, he was in Ohio, so.
I know.
By his own account, he began having sexual fantasies about strangling women as a child, starting when he saw his kindergarten teacher touch her neck. That's kind of random. That's like, bro, she just touched your neck. I want to kill that bitch. Oh, sorry. Anyway, as a teenager, he collected true crime magazines depicting the choking of women. So, like, he's been arrested a lot of times and he was never caught, which is concerning. You know what I mean? Like, because they have like a picture of all of his arrest shit, right? And so,
Yeah.
like, he was arrested. Let's zoom in here. So he was first arrested in 66,
Since,
then 67,
yeah.
then 72, 73, 74, 75, 77, 78, 84, 85, 88, 90, 93, 94, 95. And he wasn't caught once. In
Nope.
1956, after being convicted of breaking and entering into a property in Omaha, Nebraska, Little was held in an institution for juvenile offenders. His mother was listed on the booking card as whereabouts unknown. Little moved to Florida to live with his mother in late 1960s, but by his own account, he was working at various times as a cemetery worker and an ambulance attendant. He said he then began traveling more widely and had more run-ins with the law, being arrested in 8 states for crimes that included driving under the influence, fraud, shoplifting, solicitation, armed robbery, aggravated assault, and rape. Little took up boxing during his time in prison, referring to himself as a former prize fighter.
Oh, yeah, baby. So for his crimes, in
A
61,
lot.
he was sentenced to 3 years in prison for breaking into a furniture store in Lorraine. He was released in 64. By 75, he has been arrested 26
Yeah,
times in 11
yeah.
states
And
for
I told you
crimes
so. Like, so the
including.
whole thing is that um that's why I said he's been all over, and his victims are in all different states. Like, it's not just one state. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah,
So yeah. His times in 26 times in 11 states for crimes including theft, assault, attempted rape, fraud, and attacks on government officials. In 82, he was arrested in Pascagoula, Mississippi, and
Pascagoula.
he faced.
That's where my aunt from. My aunt
Ooh,
lives there still.
and now everybody's gonna go find your aunt in Pascagoula.
I mean, if you want to go there, like, it's not a very big town. I've been there.
You're making her odd so good right
No, it's not a very big town. Like, the coolest thing that's in Pascagoula is they have this bridge.
He's giving his aunt's address out and everything.
The coolest thing you can have in
Yo,
Pascagoula is like this bridge that opens up and closes over a river. It's pretty cool.
Mhm. I've always wanted to see one of those.
Yeah.
Anywho. Um, and he faced charges for the murder of 22-year-old Melinda Rose Lepre, who had gone missing in September of that year. A grand jury inclined to indict him for her murder. However, while under investigation, Little was extradited to Florida and tried for the murder of 26-year-old Patricia Ann Mount, whose body had been found in September 1982. Prosecution witnesses identified Little in court as a person who had spent time with Mount on the night before her disappearance. Due to mistrust of witnesses' testimonies, Little was acquitted in 84. Okay, so he was caught
Yeah,
before.
but
They just
they
didn't.
acquitted him, and then they refused to indict him, which, thinking back on it, the people that were doing that probably was like, fuck, we should have just went on ahead and convicted him. Because there's like 60 people that are dead because of us. Damn it. You ever think the judge just looks back on this? Damn it.
I wonder if they do actually feel bad because, like, I mean,
They
technically,
probably do. Like, we should have believed them with this shit.
technically.
We some dumbasses. Fuck.
Anywho, Little moved to California where he stayed in the vicinity of San Diego.
Son the
In October 1984, he was arrested for kidnapping, beating, and strangling 22-year-old Lori Barrows, who
rip.
survived. Who
She survived,
survived
so not rip.
Oh,
1
never
So
month.
mind.
not rip.
1
Sylvia.
month. 1 month later, he was found by police in the backseat of his car with an unconscious woman, also beaten and strangled in the same location as the attempted murder of Barrows. Little served 2.5 years in prison for both crimes. Upon release in February 1987, he immediately moved to Los Angeles and committed 10 additional murders, because why not,
I
right?
mean, go big or go home, baby.
I mean, amen. Little was arrested on September 5th, 2012, at a homeless shelter in Louisville, Kentucky, and extradited to California to face a narcotics charge, which authorities used DNA testing to establish that he was involved in the murders of Linda Alford, killed on July 13th, 87, Guadalupe Duarte Apodaca, killed killed on September 3rd, 1987, and Audrey Nelson Everett, killed on August 14th, 1989. All three women were killed and later found on the streets of LA. He was extradited to Los Angeles, where he was charged on January 7th, 2013. A few months later, the police said that Little was being investigated for involvement in 3 dozen murders committed in the 80s, which until then had been undisclosed. In connection with the new circumstances in Mississippi, the Lepre murder case was reopened. In total, Little was tested for involvement in 93 murders of women in many states.
Trial and incarceration. Little was tried for the murders of
He
Alfred Nelson and Apodaca in September 2014. The prosecution presented the DNA evidence as well as testimony of witnesses who were attacked by the accused at different times throughout his criminal career. On September 25th, 2014, Little was found guilty and was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. On the day of the verdict, Little continued to insist on his innocence. Before his death, Little was serving a sentence at the California State Prison in Los Angeles County. Later confession. On November 9th, 2018, Little confessed to the 1996 fatal strangulation of Melissa Thomas. November 13th, 2018, Little was charged with the 1994 murder of Denise Christie brothers in Odessa, Texas, after having confessed the crime to a Texas Ranger in May 2018. Little pleaded guilty to the murder of brothers on December 13th and received another life sentence. The Ector County, Texas District Attorney and Wise County, Texas Sheriff's Office announced on November 13th that Little had confessed to dozens of murders and may have committed more than 90 across 14 states between 1970 and 2005. So, little side note, I actually got to talk to Samuel Little. So he was in Odessa at one point at the jail down there, and we had him at our jail because we did overflow for Midland and Odessa, and I got to talk to him, and he definitely would send chills down your spine. He was definitely a pure psychopath. Like, you could just tell there was nothing there. You know what I mean?
Nothing behind those eyes.
For real. Like, he talked about the murders that he committed and stuff just like it was an everyday thing. You know, like he was just at work doing a job.
Like it was a Starbucks run.
Kind of. Yeah, it was unnerving. You know what I mean? On November 15th, 2018, the Russell County, Alabama District Attorney. That's worded weird. The Russell County, Alabama District Attorney announced that Little had earlier that month confessed to the 1979 murder of 23-year-old Brenda Alexander, whose body was found in Phoenix City, Alabama. On November 16, 2018, Macomb, Georgia sheriffs announced that Little had credibly confessed to the 1977 strangling murder of an unidentified woman and the 1982 strangling murder of an 18-year-old Fredonia Smith. What? That's a cool name. The fall of 2018, Little confessed to the 1982 murder of a 55-year-old Dorothy Richards and the 1996 murder of 40-year-old Daisy McGuire. Both of their bodies were found in Huma, Louisiana. I'm going to say that's Huma, or it's going to go on. On November 19, 2018, Harrison County, Mississippi Sheriff Troy Peterson said that Little had confessed to strangling 36-year-old Julia Critchfield in the Gulfport area in 1978 and dumping her body off a cliff. On November 20th, 2018, Lee County, Mississippi law enforcement officials announced that Little had admitted to killing 46-year-old Nancy Carroll Stevens in Tupelo, Mississippi in 2005, and that the case would be presented to a grand jury in January 2019. On November 21st, 2018, Richland County, South Carolina authorities announced that Little had confessed to murdering 19-year-old Evelyn Weston, whose body was found near Fort Jackson, South Carolina in 1978. Little confessed to having killed 20-year-old Rosie Hill in Marion County, Florida in 1982. On November 27th, 2018, the Federal Bureau of Investigation announced that a violent criminal apprehension program team had confirmed 34 of Little's confessions and was working to match the remainder of Little's confessions to known murders or suspicious deaths. Little began making the confessions in exchange for a transfer out of Los Angeles County Prison in which he was being held. One included his confession to a previous cold case homicide in Prince George County, Maryland, previously one of only 2 homicide cases in that county with unidentified victims. So I can understand why they were skeptical about him confessing to all these murders, because that's pretty much what Henry Lee Lucas did. Henry Lee Lucas is called the confession killer because he confessed to killing 300 people, but he really didn't kill. I think
he just wanted to be
the thing is that he knew if he confessed, he got to get out of his cell. They would give him cigarettes. They would give him coffee. They would do all this shit. You know what I mean? And he pretty much told him, he said, when you confess and you do all this stuff, you kind of become like a rock star in his mind. You know what I mean? So, like,
Yeah.
realistically, I think Henry Lee Lucas may have only killed maybe 5 people, if that. But because he was part of a duo, because it was Henry Lee Lucas, and then he would drive around with this dude was like 6'6" transvestite guy named Otis Toole. And no, his name is not Otis, it is Otis because of the 1T. It's extra dumb. So yeah. And they were also possibly gay lovers, but then
Possibly.
gay lovers, but then Otis
Possibly
also
a
had a
lover.
14-year-old girl that Henry Lee Lucas ended up marrying and then possibly murdering her. So who knows? We could do a podcast about Henry Lee Lucas and Otis Toole. That'd be pretty cool.
Put it in the
Otis.
chat.
In December 2018, Little was indicted for strangling Linda Sue Board, 23, to death in May 1981 in Warren County, Kentucky. Her body was found on May 15, 1981 near U.S. Route 68. One of Little's victims was identified in December 2018 as Martha Cunningham of Knox County, Tennessee, who was 34 when Little murdered her in 1975. She's out there hustling, is what that picture says. Anyways, on May 31st, 2019, at Cuyahoga County, Ohio. Is that how you say that? Lori,
Sure thing,
Lori,
baby.
that's your specialty because it's one of the weird names.
That's not my specialty anymore. I already closed the else out. I put the else out to control, whatever it is.
Prosecute? No, I'm talking about
It's however you want to
I'm
say it.
just talking about it's close to Wisco, so I'm sure you could pronounce it better than I can. I think
Definitely not. No
it's
idea.
Cuyahoga. I'm gonna say that anyways. Prosecutors announced indictments with 4 counts of aggravated murder and 6 counts of kidnapping. What's aggravated murder? Like, isn't murder just?
Angry
I
murder?
don't know. Was he like angry when he did it? He was like, "Damn it, they got my coffee wrong."
I think aggravated murder, like, so I could be wrong, but I think it means it's just like, you kill somebody with a gun. Okay, that's just killing somebody. But he went like the extra mile.
Maybe I have no idea. Like, I don't understand that because I figured murder was just murder. Like, I figure murder in itself is pretty aggravated. You know, I mean, and 6 counts of kidnapping
Is it aggravated?
that accused Little of killing Mary Jo Payton in 1984 and Rose Evans in 1991 in Cleveland. Both victims were strangled and dumped. The body of Rose Evans was found on August 24th, 1991, in a vacant lot on East 39th Street. She left her hometown of Binghamton, New York, when she was 17. Evans had been strangled, according to coroner
Oh, sorry.
Elizabeth Balraj. Sure. As for Peyton, is Elizabeth Balraj. We're going to say that. Balraj, thank you, come again. As for Peyton, an anthropologist had to create a model of what she looked like, but she remained unidentified until 1992, when Cleveland put her thumbprint in an FBI database and got a match. Little picked up Peyton at a bar near East 105th and Euclid Avenues. He described her as a short, plump woman in her 20s with brown hair. Little Why did he say short, plump? That's weird. I guess he didn't.
Is he talking about
I
me?
guess he didn't want to say fat or chubby. He just said she's plump. She's plump. Little confessed to killing another Cleveland woman in 1997 or 1977 or 1978. The woman was murdered in 77 or 78. Was found on March 18, 1983 in Willoughby Hills, Ohio, according to the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System. She was likely black and somewhere between 17 and 35. She was likely black. We're not real sure. The woman's body had been dumped down a grassy slope near a fence in a wooded area just off Interstate 271. When her body was found by a man walking his dog, only her skeleton, some clothing, and jewelry remained. Why would you say she was likely black if you only found her skeleton? That's kind of racist.
Right? No, actually, you can tell people's like races by their
You think
skeletons.
so?
Yeah, I feel like that's actually.
I mean, maybe. But I mean, like, if you could tell her skeleton, if you could tell her race, then why wouldn't you just say like she was a black woman? Why do you have to say like she was likely?
Well, because they
She
can't.
was likely black, but she also may have
Well,
been
because
Indian.
like
Well,
it
it
can't
wasn't
be 100%.
confirmed. It was like she's most likely black.
She's most likely black, but she could have been Indian. We're not sure. Little confess.
You think black people and Indians have the same structure
I
then?
don't.
Or
I don't
what?
know. I'm not even getting into that conversation. I am a bold, I am a bold white man. That's not a conversation I need to be having. Okay. Little confessed to killing one woman in Akron, Ohio, two in Cincinnati. One of the bodies was dumped outside of Columbus, Ohio, and one woman he met in Columbus and disposed of in Kentucky. Of the two women Little murdered in Cincinnati, one was identified as Anna Stewart, 33, whose body was dumped in Grove City, Ohio. Stewart was last seen on October 6, 1981, getting out of a cab at General Hospital. That's a cool name for a hospital. What hospital are you going to? Oh,
Isn't
General
that a TV show?
Hospital. To see her sister in the hospital. Now University of Cincinnati Academic Health Center. Oh, that's a big chain. Which hospital are you going to? Oh, General Hospital. Just a general hospital.
Just a general one.
She was killed on October 11th. He killed the other woman between 1980 and 1999. The Jane Doe was anywhere from 15 to 50. Wow, that's a big age gap.
That's a
That's an age gap, Jack.
yeah.
She may have been 15, but she also could have been 50. She smoked a lot of cigarettes and she drank a lot, so we're not real sure. As the details of her
Imagine.
age and the date of her murder are unclear. She was black. So let's see now, how did they know she was black? But why was this other lady likely black? Punk ass people. Anyways, she was black, slender, wore glasses, and lived in the Over the Rhine neighborhood of Cincinnati with a heavy female Hispanic. That's a nice way to say that. Little left her. This Wikipedia is just sending me, guys. Little left her beside a cigarette billboard in Ohio. On June 7th, 2019, Little was indicted in Hamilton County, Ohio, for murdering the two women killed in Cincinnati. Little had drawn portraits of many women he killed. These portraits were released by FBI in hopes of someone identifying the women. At least one portrait solved the cold case in Akron, Ohio. In November 2020, Little confessed to two Florida murders, one of which another man had been wrongfully convicted. That's fucked up. They're like, hey, dog, so we kept you in prison for a long time because we thought you murdered this person, but really you didn't. It's another Stephen Avery case, man.
Joke's on you.
Another Stephen Avery case. So we know you've been in prison for like 35 years, but we're going to let you go now. On April 22nd, 2022, a woman Little killed in Memphis, Tennessee, whose body was found on the Arkansas side of the Mississippi River in 1990, was identified as 30-year-old Zena Marie Jones. So now we're going to get into the victims, Libs. We got
Okay.
a lot to go here. Oh my good lord.
Okay.
Jeez.
So Little admitted to 93 different murders in total.
Yeah.
Uh, and 60 deaths have been formally connected to him by the police. Majority of Little's victims were sex workers, substance users, or homeless individuals. Most of them were female. Most of them were female.
Yes.
He claimed that he thought these persons would leave fewer clues for authorities to find and leave fewer persons to search for them. Despite the broad scope of his offering,
Offending.
of his offending.
Was offering to here's my sacrifice.
You got a bunch of hookers. I can take care of that for you. I got you. I'm offering you $35 to let me do this. I will pay you.
Little was charged and convicted of only 8 murders in total, as these cases had the strongest evidence of guilt. Annie Lee Stewart, 32, was murdered on October 11th, 1981 in Cincinnati, Ohio. Little strangled her and disposed of her body in the woods behind some apartments off Queen Anne Place in Grove City, Ohio. Little was convicted of her murder on August 23rd, 2019. Mary Jo Payton, 21, was murdered sometime in 1984 after she encountered Little in a bar in Cleveland, Ohio. Little claimed that he and Payton left the bar together. Then he then took her to an abandoned factory. He choked her there before throwing her body down a basement staircase. Two workers from a nearby company discovered her dead on July 3rd, 1984. A few weeks later, Little was convicted on the 23rd of 2019. Carol
Damn.
Linda Alford was murdered by Little in Los Angeles, California. Authorities discovered Little's first DNA match on her underwear and under her fingernails. On July 3rd, 1987, her body was discovered in a Los Angeles alley. From the waist down, she was nude. Her daughter recognized her body. She had been strangled to death. An autopsy indicated she also experienced other wounds, such as a punch-related head injury from a blunt force. Little was found guilty of the crime on September 25th, 2014. Audrey Nelson Everett, 35, was found in a dumpster behind a nightclub and a restaurant in Los Angeles, California on August 14th, 1989. There was nothing found that could be used to identify her body, which was naked from the waist down. She had been repeatedly hit on the head before being forcefully strangled, according to an autopsy. DNA linked Little to the crime, and he was convicted on September 5th, 2014.
25th.
Same shit. September 25th, 2014. The same as the last bitch, okay?
Damn.
Guadalupe Apodaca. Apodaca. 46, was found on September 3rd, 1989, at an abandoned auto repair shop in Los Angeles, California. After a boy kicking a soccer ball against the building peered into the window and saw her, yeah, proceeded into the window, peered into the window and saw her body.
You having
Authorities
trouble today?
determined that Little,
You
I
need to talk
am.
about it.
I do. That Little kneeled on her chest and strangled her with his hands, causing her to have a seizure. R.I.P. She was nude from the waist down and had blood in her anal cavity as well as
Damn.
DNA. DNA linked Little to the crime, and he was convicted on September 25th,
He literally
2014.
took her booty.
He did. Zena Marie Jones, 30, was a woman found murdered in West Memphis, Arkansas on July 28th, 1990. After going missing on July 6th from Memphis, Tennessee,
Blame
the
those boys for
Arkansas.
that one too. Sorry, we gotta do another
on
podcast too on the West Memphis Three.
the West, man.
Put it in the notes.
I will. Okay. Stop yelling at me.
I will yell at you anytime I want.
Continue this for Liv. So Zena Marie Jones, 30, was a woman found murdered in West Memphis, Arkansas on July 28, 1990, after going missing on July 6 from Memphis, Tennessee. On the Arkansas side of the Mississippi River, close to the shore, and about 8 feet from the river's mile marker 722.2. A fisherman discovered the victim. Little admitted to killing her and provided a sketch in 2018. He claimed she was a prostitute who was between the ages of 28 and 29, and that he picked her up at a Memphis hotel. As a Memphis police car passed them, he choked her while they were in his car. He then dropped the victim into the river once he entered Arkansas and pulled up to a bridge on August 23rd, 2019. He was found guilty of her homicide. She was identified in April 2022 after her family noticed a resemblance between the composite sketch drawn by Little and Jones. Are you back yet, Little?
Interesting. Yes, I'm
Okay,
back.
you can continue.
Sorry, my
I
child.
finished it. I was picking up for you, so your voice is gonna be deep.
Picking up where I left
Your
off.
voice is gonna be a little deep there for a while.
It's okay. I had a cold. Rose Evans, 32, was murdered in Cleveland, Ohio around August 24th, 1991. Little encountered Evans while driving and offered her a ride. Then, in an abandoned area, he strangled her in his car. He was convicted of her murder on August 23rd, 2019. Denise Christie Brothers, 32, was was a mother of two who was found killed in Odessa, Texas on a murderer of two, on February 2nd, 1994. Brothers had been reporting missing on January 1st, 1994, according to District Attorney Bobby Bland, and she had been strangled. Little pleaded guilty to killing her and receiving his fourth life sentence on December 13th,
Is
2018
pleaded the
for it.
right word? I thought it would be pled.
He pleaded guilty.
I know, but it's like pleaded. I thought it would have been like pled. Like the past tense of plead would be pled. Am I wrong? I could be wrong. Anyways, and then we have a whole list of things that he confessed to, like Mary Jo Brosley, Linda, Marianne, Donna, Sarah, Donna/Sarah, an unnamed white female, Sarah Brown, Agatha White Buffalo, Cat, Leola et Bryan,
Okay,
Cunningham, Evelyn,
can we hurry up and get to Granny?
hang on, Leanne Helms, Yvonne Pless, Clara Birdlong, unnamed black female, Julia Critchfield, Evelyn Weston, Brenda Alexander, Linda Sue Boards, Patricia Parker, Fredonia Smith, Rosie Hill, Patricia Ann Mount, Dorothy Richard, Melinda Lepre, unnamed black female, Frances Campbell, Granny, Linda Bennett, Alice Denise Duval, Roberta Tandarich, Alice Denise Taylor Tracy, Tracy Lynn Johnson, unnamed black female, Ruby Dean Lane, Jolanda Jones, Melissa Thomas, Daisy McGuire, T Money. T Money. Anyway, unnamed white female, Priscilla Baxter Jones, Nancy Carroll Stevens. I'm not gonna go into all the other stuff because it's a lot. Anyways, personal life and death. Little had a long-term girlfriend, Aurelia Dorsey, so apparently he didn't kill every woman.
Not
since
every,
deceased,
just most.
Since deceased, who supported them both through shoplifting for years. Damn. On May 28, 1971, he was arrested in Cleveland with his girlfriend at the time, Lucy Madero, and they were charged with robbery of a gas station. While in jail, Madero confided in her cellmate Dorsey that she would be testifying against Little in the subsequent robbery case. She was found dead 2 days later. In 1972, the case went to trial. Madero testified against Little, but his defense team was able to plan for it with help from information passed on by Dorsey. Little was eventually found not guilty. Dorsey and Little were together until she died of natural causes, brain hemorrhage, in Los Angeles in 1988. Little died on December 30th, 2020, in his Los Angeles County Area Hospital. Although California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation sources indicate no cause of death, Little suffered from diabetes, heart problems, and other health conditions. In the media.
Oh, are we reading about the
if
media?
you want to. I don't care.
Jillian Lauren investigated Little and interviewed him at length in prison. Lauren initially had begun writing a mystery novel, and while interviewing Detective Mitzi Roberts of the Los Angeles Police Department, she told Lauren, "Well, I'm proud of them all, but I did catch the serial killer Sam Little once. That was pretty cool." After that, Lauren switched from writing crime fiction to writing a nonfiction book about Little, and in the course of her preparation, spent more than 40 hours interviewing him. During the interviews, he confessed to multiple murders and sent her drawings of her victims. In December 2018, Lauren wrote about her experience interviewing Little for The Cut. Joe Berlinger read the article and thought it would be interesting for a feature-length film or documentary series and met with Lauren. The 5-part television miniseries, Confronting a Serial Killer, directed and produced by Berlinger, presents her investigation and premiered on April 18th, 2021 on Stars. In 2023, Lauren's book, Behold the Monster Confronting America's Most Prolific Serial Killer and Uncovering the Woman Society Forgot, was published, but that was a fucking long ass book
Bet you didn't
title.
sell very much because people were like, huh? I'm not reading that shit. I don't even want to read this long
Like,
bullshit.
that is at least 17 words long. Like, what the fuck? Anyways, published by Source Books.
All right.
Yeah.
Paperboy gotta go. I'm gonna go warm up enchiladas.
Bitches. What? What enchiladas?
My dad gave me enchiladas, and I'm gonna go warm them up and eat them.
Ooh,
Ooh,
white people
Yeah,
enchiladas.
we could talk about enchiladas for 2
Okay.
minutes and make
amen.
it even 45 minutes if you want to.
What kind of enchiladas are they? Do they got red sauce? Do they got
They
green
got red
sauce?
sauce, and I think it's beef. I'm pretty sure. So the way he does his enchiladas, that it's not like he rolls them, but like then he bakes them in the oven. So like it's kind of like a casserole looking thing, but they're enchiladas. And that makes sense. Like he kind of does like stacked.
Yeah, white people
Yeah, he
enchiladas.
kind of does like stacked enchiladas. But like he may cook them like a white people, but they don't taste like white people. You know what I'm saying? Like my
Right,
dad be
right.
hooking it up with Mexican food, surprisingly. Um, so like
Surprisingly.
Yeah,
so it's
daddy.
like really good. But yeah, and so oh yeah, and everybody at my job that I'm not gonna mention of what I do or the name of or anything like that. Everybody at my job knows that we have a podcast, so they're probably gonna listen to it.
Why? Why don't you just go and tell everybody? I feel so
Because
bad.
okay,
Same.
so I'm not gonna mention like I said, I'm not gonna mention my job, but like
Hey,
we have to do PT at my job, and we do a game while we're doing PT to where our instructor's like, okay, I want you to tell me 2 facts about this person that I don't know. And so we have to come up with 2 facts. So like we're constantly sharing stuff with people. And something that the instructor doesn't know is that I do a podcast, a true crime
I would
podcast.
be sharing everything else but
I mean,
podcasts.
like I don't really care if they listen to it or
Glenn
not.
is proud of other
I am
podcasts,
proud of our
okay?
podcast, okay?
I wish I could be that proud
Because
of our
we work really
podcasts.
hard on our podcast, and so I deserve to be proud of our podcast. Okay.
Laura works really hard uploading that
Yeah, but
podcast,
also
Right.
editing that
On time,
podcast.
every single Wednesday.
yes,
You're welcome.
but also like we wouldn't have a podcast if it wasn't for us three, and if we didn't have witty banter between me and Livs and us making fun of each other because we can't read. Okay.
And I get out of this because I edit the podcast.
Because,
Yeah, Laura
because
doesn't have to read.
Lori would be like, "Listen, if y'all heard me read, then y'all would think that I was in special classes when I was in school." Okay.
Same.
Anyway, it's been 45 minutes now. Paperboy gotta go. Bye.
But boy, gotta go. Bye.